Hey everyone, in this video we'll take a look at the 7th module of the Post Pro panel, which is dedicated for custom brushes. The top section has all the brush setting presets. The color eyedropper icon opens up the color picker window for you to choose the foreground color. The black eyedropper icon sets the foreground color to black. The white eyedropper icon sets the foreground color to white. The brush settings icon opens and closes the brush settings window. Next are the various brush sizes. The small brush size is set to 20 pixels, medium is 250 pixels, large is 500 pixels, and the extra large is set to 1000 pixels. Next are the round brush hardness presets. The round hard edge brush is set to 100% hardness, and the round soft edge brush is set to 0% hardness. In the row below, you will find the brush opacity presets ranging from 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%, followed by brush flow settings ranging from 1%, 10%, 30%, and 100%. You can use the empty layer icon to delete all the contents of that layer, so you can start fresh without the need to delete that layer and create a new one. The next section includes custom, high-quality, photorealistic brushes. Most of these brushes also have an alternate brush when you hold the Alt or Option key while clicking on them. Please note that the brush icons won't change when you hold Alt or Option. The skin brushes let you paint a realistic skin texture. You can use the split view button to have two windows open with different zoom levels. This helps to keep an eye on global changes and fine details. As a quick dodge and burn alternative, you can try our highly effective skin paint and fade technique, where you can use the coarse pigmented skin brush from the first button, or the medium fine pigmented brushes from the second or the third skin brush button. Then pick a skin color to paint the tones and texture. Similar to dodge and burn, pick a highlight skin tone if you want to lighten the skin, and a medium dark skin tone if you want to darken the skin. The fade tool comes in very handy to blend in every brush stroke perfectly. Also make sure to resize the brush to match the skin texture size. Compared to dodge and burn, which is a slow buildup of the effect, our skin brush paint and fade technique shows the changes in real time. You don't even require a lot of precision, as you can fade in to blend your brush strokes. You can also use the Alt Option version of the first and second skin button for slightly different textures. The mesh-like brush stroke blends in so realistically without leaving any artificial trace behind. With paint and fade, you can unify details and blend tones in one brush stroke. All you have to do here is choose the skin highlights color, match the brush size to the skin texture, and then paint in the texture. And use the fade tool to blend your brush strokes. With these skin brushes, you can unify skin texture 10 times faster than traditional dodge and burn technique and get amazing skin details. You can also use the pores brush to add some subtle skin pores. And use the fade tool to blend your brush strokes. To use the freckles brush, pick a dark shade of the skin and then resize the brush to paint all over the face. We'll create a skin mask in the next step to delete the excess. Always make sure to use a new empty layer before painting with each type of brush. Change the layer blend mode to multiply and adjust the layer opacity. You can also blur the freckles slightly to match the existing freckles. Next, from the portrait module, we'll use the AI select button to create a skin selection of the face, and then invert the selection and create a hide all mask. If required, you can fine-tune the layer opacity further. The iris brushes can be used to add sparkle in the iris. You can choose between the half iris, mid, or the full iris depending on the image. Also, make sure you create a new layer before using each type of brush, and choose the lightest color of the eye to paint with. You may need to erase out the edges outside the iris, and try blend modes like screen or color dodge to see what works best, and adjust the layer opacity. Next are the eyelashes brushes. Always start with a new layer and make sure your brush tool's opacity and flow is set to 100%. From the brush settings icon, you can easily flip the brush horizontally and rotate its angle. You can also rotate the brush by 1 degree with the left and right arrow keys. Holding the Alt or Option key while clicking on the eyelashes brushes will switch to a lower eyelash option. To flip the eyelash horizontally, you can click on the brush settings icon and check the Flip X checkbox. You can use the stubble brush or the beard brush to paint in some facial hair. Since these brushes are designed to be used with any brush type like clone stamp, mixer brush, or eraser, you will need to set the desired size and color. The first hairbrush button is for painting single hair strands. Always make sure you're working on a new layer. Use a very small brush size and color to match the hair strands in your image. This brush is ideal for painting eyebrows and eyelash hair strands. The second hairbrush is for painting hair flow. Choose the hair highlight color from the image, and gently paint along to add some smooth flowing strands. You may need to adjust the layer opacity to blend in the hair. Try not to make sharp curves with this brush. The third hairbrush is for painting curly hair. I'll use the Composite Pro button from the Portrait module to create a subject mask and turn off the shadows layer. Now I'll use the third hairbrush to fix the curls in the edges of the mask for a realistic cutout. Take a look at how detailed the edges of the hair look. Next are the wig brushes. Once again, I'll use the Composite Pro button from the Portrait module to create a subject mask and turn off the shadows layer. Now I'm going to use the Load Selection button to open up a selection I previously made to mask out the edges of the hair. The wig brushes are very useful when you want to mask out hair from a busy background. From the brush settings icon, you can easily flip the brush horizontally and rotate its angle. You can also rotate the brush by 1 degree with the left and right arrow keys, and holding shift with the arrow keys rotates the brush by 15 degrees. Pick a hairstyle that is similar to the subject's hair. So the technique here is to use the wig brushes on the layer mask in order to paint back the hair edges. You can try and match different hair brushes and resize them to fit different areas. All the wig buttons have an alternate brush option when you click on them holding the Alter option key. Once you're done, you can select the soft round brush and select the Remove Hair Halos layer, and then pick a hair color and paint over the edges of the hair to remove the color contamination of the old background. Now let's change the background color to see the edge details. You can also use the Liquify or Warp tool to further shape the hair. The fur brush has 2 options. Either you can paint with the main brush in small strokes, or hold Alt or Option key for the alternate brush, which is better suited for masking out furry edges. Next are some texture brushes like Grit and Rust that you can use to paint a distressed vintage canvas background for your portraits. You can start by selecting the subject and then copy it to the new layer. Then right below that layer, create a blank new layer to paint in. Paint the dark shades around the edges for a vignette effect, and use the lighter colors for the center. You can also use the Fade tool to blend in your brush strokes. Adjust the brush size and choose muted light and dark tones from the image. Once you're done, you can create a new hue saturation adjustment layer and clip it to the painting layer and fine-tune the saturation so that it blends with the image. You can also reduce the layer opacity for a subtle effect. Finally, we have a collection of environment effect brushes like Snow Effect. Then a Rain Effect brush. Some Splash Effects. These brushes take full advantage of the powerful brush dynamics in Photoshop to create a realistic effect. Then Fog Effect brush and a Smoke Effect brush. Remember to use the Fade tool to blend your brush strokes. Then Dust Particles and a Splatter brush effect. Then some Grass brushes and also a Cloud brush. In the next video, we'll take a look at the bottom section of the panel.